Hello and welcome to ExcelDashboardTemplates.com. My name is Steve True. Please visit our blog at ExcelDashboardTemplates.com so that you're sure to get the latest charting techniques, Excel tips and tricks, and everything Excel. Okay, let's see. Today I'm going to do a demonstration of a New York Times graph or chart that I saw, and this was related to Tiger Woods, and it was how many different tournaments he has won. So the black equaled what he's won. The gray circles here and were the ones that he finished in the top 10, and the last three, and any of the ones that are just regular circles with a white center, are contests that he entered but did not finish in the top 10. So in 1996 he entered, this is the 5th event, 6, 7, 8. He entered 8 events. He won 2. He was in the top 10 for 3, and he had 3 that he was just involved in the tournament. Then there's a break in the chart right here that you can see. So there were no grid lines, if you will, in this break. And then they had more circles representing the Masters, the US Open, the British Open, and the PGA Championship. Same concept. 0 as he entered the event, black as he won, and a gray filled circle, and he finished in the top 10. So the chart actually was to say, how's Tiger doing? And it was in 2011, and he hadn't done much for 2010 and 2011. Wanted to see, is he back or not? And looks like he won 3 this year. He finished in a lot of top 10s, so he's back, I think. Anyway, let me show you how I went about creating this chart and how we can do that. So first thing that you want to do is we need to set up our data in such a way that we are going to draw lines, if you will, for each one of the year. So what I've done is I've kind of showed, this is 1996, and this data here represents the 1996 data. So what we've got is the first row are the wins, the second row is the top 10s, so he had 3 top 10s, and then the third row is when he was outside the top 10. He had 3 that he was outside the top 10. So 2 wins, 3 top 10s, 3 finishes without being in the top 10 or winning. So that's the first thing that you need to do. So I have done this for every single year, repeating wins, top 10s, outside the top 10. And then if you scroll all the way over here to the right, we've done the same thing with Masters, the US Open, the British Open, and the PGA Championship. So in 1996, he was outside the top 10. He did not have any wins. He did not have any top 10 finishes. All 3 of his starts were outside the top 10. 1997, he won the Masters. He did not have any top 10 finishes, and then he did compete in the other 3 events. So that's how we're going to set up our data. And then down at the very bottom of our data, what I've got here is these are how we're going to actually create our grid lines. So each one of these series are in between the years, so in between 2011 and 2012, in between 2010 and 2011. So they're all, as you can see here, 1/2. And I've just gotten rid of all the decimals so that these would show on the same page that you can actually see this video. So all of these numbers here are in between the 2 different years of data that we're going to be showing. Finally, down over here, I've got another section of data that we're going to use to represent these years over here on the left. What ends up happening is to recreate the chart exactly, since it had the year right on top of the year, I couldn't use the grid lines because the year would get shifted over as a category. It wouldn't line up on the vertical axis. So just wanted to do something unique in order to create those vertical axis categories. Alright, so let's go ahead and build this chart. The one other thing that you need to do before you start into the chart, after you've set up your data, is you need to create these 3 shapes. So you can learn about all this on my blog on creating shapes and using those as custom markers. But what I've done here is I've created 3 different markers that we're going to use as custom markers. And all I did was go up to my Insert menu, I went to Shapes, I created an oval shape, and I filled in the circle with black, and that was how I did the first one. Then I copied that and changed the inside to a gray, Then I copied that as well, changed the line to gray and the inside to no fill or white. So this is how we're going to represent our different markers. Alright, so let's go ahead and create the chart now. What you want to do is you want to come up and highlight your data, and you can download this template sheet and graph samples so you can see exactly how I did it with the data already set up for you on my blog at excel-templates.com. So we're going to highlight C1 all the way over to AF, and we're going to go all the way down to AF70. Okay, so we've got our data highlighted. I want to create the chart by going up to the Insert menu, and we're just going to do a standard line chart, and we're going to do a 2D line with markers. Okay, there we go. So let me move this down just a little bit more here so that you can see what this will look like. Okay, so we've created our chart, and what I want to do is I do want to fix this vertical axis. Let's right click on this vertical axis, do Format Axis, and I want to change these minimum and maximum categories, not from 0. I want to get it down to 1996. That's when our first data point is, and I want to stop it at 2012, which is our last data point. I also want to do the values in reverse order because I want 1996 to be on top and 2012 to be on the bottom. Let's see, is there anything else I want to do? Let's take off the major tick marks and do none. Let's go up to the line color and do no line, so that because we are ultimately going to get rid of this anyway. Alright, so you can see it's set up our data in kind of a weird way. It's this big long V, and that's because Excel tried to put it in a different way, that we want to switch the rows and columns. So select your chart, go up to your design ribbon, go to your data group, and hit switch rows and columns. Now you can see once I've done that, our chart actually looks kind of similar to what we were going to want to create in the first place. And let's select the chart, because we do need to add one other series that's going to mock up this 1996 to 2012, and that is that series that I created over here in A72 through B88. We want to copy that. Then we want to select our chart, do paste, paste special, and we want to change this one here. It says values Y in rows. We want to make sure it's columns. Click on OK, and you can now see it's added this one kind of catty corner chart series, and we're going to straighten that out, add labels to it, and we're going to ultimately make that our vertical axis categories. Okay, so we're getting pretty close. At the very top, you'll notice that the axis is not exactly how I want it to look. What I'd like to do is change this out. But before we do that, let's right-click on it and do Format Axis. And one of the things we want to do here is we want to say major tick marks. Let's do none. And let's do line color of no line. And let's stop and close and get out of that. Now to switch this out, since it's 1 through 30, we've got the very top of our chart. We actually do have the categories already set up for the horizontal axis. So let's click on the chart. Go up to our design ribbon, hit our select data button. Then from here we want to change our horizontal category access labels. Click on edit. Gets us a range where we can actually now go pick our range, and I'm going to come up to the very top and I'm going to pick C1 all the way over to AF1. Click on OK. And then I'm going to click on OK again. If I hit cancel, it will actually get rid of any of my changes. So let's go take a look at what that looks like now. Alright, so we've got year, the 5th one being on the 5th value, the 10th on the 10th. Here's our Masters, our US Open, and our British Open, so we've effectively corrected that. Now what we want to do is we want to go through and change all of these markers and lines to make it look like what we want it to do. First, however, let's click on the horizontal grid lines and then hit our delete key. Let's get rid of those grid lines because they'll kind of mess us up a little bit. Let's go find that shape that you've already created for winds. Hit copy, which is Control C. Then you want to go back to your chart, select your chart, and then select one of the ones that are winds. So I know that this very first one here, that's a series of winds. And if I do Control V, it's going to just give me this noticing complex formatting is applied. It may take a while to display. Do you want to do this? Hit yes. And look, there you go. It's already created our black circles now. And then let's just go through and select all of the ones that are wins. And one easy way to do this is once you've selected one, you can hit your up arrow 1, 2, 3, and it'll bring you to the next wins. 1, 2, 3. There's our next wins. 1, 2, 3. There it is. 2, 3. And hit Control V to paste. 1, 2, 3. Paste.
Powered off.
So I'm just hitting the up button 1, 2, 3 times. I'm sorry, the up arrow key, and then hitting Control V to paste that value. 1, 2, 3. Paste. 1, 2, 3. Paste. 1, 2, 3. Paste. You didn't win anything in 2011 and 2012. 1, 2, 3. Paste. And there you go. So we've now pasted all of the black circles on each one of those markers in order to replace those values. Let's go back up and copy the gray circle, which is the top 10 finishes. Choose our top 10 finish series, the first one, and hit paste. Go 1, 2, 3 up arrows, Control V for paste. So since we have a lot of series, it can take a little bit of time. So I am just selecting each one of those series and hitting paste. Control V, last series, there it is. Now we're going to repeat this option for our competed series, which is just the open circle. I have copied that value. I'm going to come back down here and select it and paste. Having problems selecting these series, there is a blog post that I have on my blog called Selecting an Unselectable Chart Series. So if you have problems doing that, make sure you check out that posting. Alright, so we now have created all of our different series for this. You can see they're all in there. Let's go ahead and get rid of our actual legend by clicking on it and hit your delete key. Now, you can see we've done just about everything that we need to do, except for a few things. Each one of these series have lines connecting them. We need to remove those lines. So if you right-click on any series and do Format Data Series, do Line Color, No Line, you'll see it goes away. Line Color, No Line. All right. And while we're there, something else that I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking care of these ones in the middle. These are our faux grid lines. You can see each one of those series. I want to change the line color of that to a solid line and make it black. I want to get rid of the marker options by choosing none for my markers. We can do that for each one of those series. Do marker options of none, line color solid line. It already has our black default put in there once I've chosen it once. So I just have to go through and do each one of those to none, line color of solid line. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. Just takes a little bit of time, but once you've done it once, you can add another year to the series and see what happened for 2013. Okay, line color, solid line, marker options, none. This is for each one of these faux ones. Let me move this out of here so you can kind of see what's happening over on the right-hand side too. Notice this is how I've created those breaks because there's no data points in there. So the lines actually are not going to show up in those sections. Alright, I'm going to skip ahead so that you can see this more quickly in the tape. So I'm just going to go through and do all of these so when you come back it will have already been done for you. Okay, welcome back. So I just continue to do it for every single series. If it's these mid lines that I'm using as faux or fake grid lines, you want to do, once again, choose the line, then do line color, solid line with color of black, marker options of none. For any of the other series that have circles on them, you want to choose line color, no line. And so this is our resultant chart. It's getting pretty close. There's only a couple steps we need to do. See, there's still this catty corner line here that we want to change. And then we'll get rid of our vertical axis and use the labels on this one. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Now, since it's using a line chart, it's just pushing it out for every single year, plus one category value over. We want to change this to an XY scatter chart. So select that line, go up to your design ribbon, then go to change chart type. And the chart type we want to choose is XY scatter, just this first one here that says scatter with only markers. Okay, so now that we've done that, we want to go edit this line. So you want to select that line, hit Control-1 to bring up our format data series. We really don't need it on the second axis. Let's just put it on the primary axis. Make sure there's no line. Make sure there's no markers as well. Okay, so you can still see it's still selected in there. The only thing we need to do is we'll go just modify its range, but first what I want to do is, or actually leave it selected. Let's go up to your layout ribbon. We want to add data labels to this series. Just choose center, and you'll see 1996 all the way down to 2012 are now in there. Let's select our original vertical axis and just hit the delete button. And then our final step, and then we're going to be done. Select your chart, go up to your design ribbon, choose the select data button. Then we want to go to the very, very last series, since it was the last one that we did, series 72, and edit it. And you'll now see it is now, we're going to do this, it's called our vertical labels. Now, we just want to switch these because it did not do exactly what we wanted it to do. We want the X series. We don't want it to move off of 1. We could also just say equals 1. And then the other choice that I want to do is I want these years to be in there. Click on OK. Click on OK again. And let's go check out the chart. Look, it has now lined up our labels right under our year within our chart. Each one of the series of wins, top 10 finishes, and placements within the tournaments have all been plotted out, and you can quickly see. So in 1996 he won 2, he kept winning, he's always won something, and then in 2010, 2011 when this chart was originally made, hadn't won a darn thing. He won 3 this last year, he had all these top 10 finishes. He did not, however, for the last 4 years he has not had any major wins, and just 1 top 10 this year. So some other top 10s, but just has not won it at all. So, and it looks like I missed one other line. Let me format that data series and take out that line color. Do no line. There we go. So now you can see our chart is completely done. You can see how you can use custom markers, fake grid lines. We've got horizontal axis with some different values up there. We've got sort of a panel chart effect with this blank here. We even created some custom vertical labels to actually create a fake vertical axis. Alright, this is Steve Equals True. Thanks for joining me at Excel-Templates.com.